Alrighty, so welcome everybody to our area management training brought to you by Amerisure. We are going to be going over our new registration process today. Although a new registration process seems a little bit intimidating at first, we are here to help you ease your worries and confusion, if you have any, which hopefully you do not. Today we will be sharing an instructional video as well as written instructions to give you as many resources as possible to get this new process started now. After learning the new registration process, we'll introduce you to the new look of our future event mailings from now on and help you walk through it and give you a little bit more information on how to navigate this new format. So for starters, we'll be going over the new registration process of our Excel document, followed by our instructional video, our registration process instruction guide, which is the written version, our new mailing format, and followed by questions. However, with that being said, if you do have any questions, we ask that you put them in the chat box, and then we'll get to them after this slideshow is done. So starting off, our new registration process Excel document, which was linked in your mailing that you got earlier today. The Excel document will be complete and you fill it out for your area's delegation. Oh, Mary, this is supposed to be you, so I'll let you do that.
No problem at all. I was just going to let you run with it. Okay. So yeah, this is going to be an Excel document format that you're going to use. I know you're used to using GMS right now, but for this instance and from now on, it is this Excel document, which you may have seen attached as well as your mailing in an email earlier. So this is going to be what you complete and what you fill out. So you're going to take your area's delegation and put it in this, whether it's the athletes, unified partners, coaches, and volunteers and chaperones. That's who you're going to put into it. And then you're going to send it back when it's completed to your area emails, which are on the screen. For Northern UP areas, it's somiforms@somi.org. For Southwest areas, it's sw.forms@somi.org. For Southeast areas, it's se.forms@somi.org. And we're going to show you a video of it. So we're not going to show you it right now, but there is a link on both the instructional guide in your mailing and attached to that original mailing email. So we have this video on the website and as well on our YouTube page. So this will walk you through step by step how to fill out that Excel sheet for the registration. And go ahead when you're ready, Julia. We are going to be going over the new registration process using the regional winter games as our example. So we already have our Excel sheet open. You'll get this, and this one is labeled Regional Winter Games Entry Template. They may be different by event, but as you see, when you open it, it'll open to this event import tab. You can see the different headings and it looks like a lot, but don't worry. We're going to go step by step on how to enter your delegation, what to enter, and other tips on this process. So if you see at the very bottom, do not scroll, but just take your mouse and you can see there's different tabs. There's 6 different tabs. There's an example, the event import, and then the 4 sports that we will be offering at this regional winter games. So to get started, we're going to start at the example tab. So this example tab will have different information and different tips and definitions on what you will be actually entering on the event import. So this is the tab that you'll be writing on. This is the tab that will help you a lot in this process. So we'll go step by step on how this works. You can see it gives examples of what this will look like when it's finished, and an athlete, a unified partner, a coach, and then how that would look as you're going through. So we'll start right from the top. As you can see, as I stated, you're going to be using the event import tab to get your delegation started and get your information in. You can click back and forth between these tabs pretty easily. So if you're in this and typing something, got a question, you can just go right back to the example tab pretty easy. The first section is the owner section that is located right here. We are going to have you leave that blank. That is going to be a section that is for state office use only, and you will not need to worry about it at this time. The next section is the role section, as you can see right here on this example tab. For athletes, you're going to use A. Unified partners, you're going to use U. Coaches is C. And for volunteers and chaperones, you'll use V, and you'll put that in, as I said, on this right here. This is a drop-down menu. So as you can see to this corner, there's a little button. You can click on that. You can either scroll through using your mouse, or you can use the up and down arrows on your computer's keyboard to choose, and either choose by clicking on that letter or pressing enter, and it'll automatically be inputted into that box, which you can change at any time as well if you decide that is not the correct role. After the role section is the first and last name section. This is very important to keep track of the spelling for this section. You want to make sure the first and last name matches exactly what you have in GMS to make sure that that is all connected correctly. So we're going to pull up GMS and show you kind of just how to find that information. If you open GMS and go to find people by personal data, you're going to type in their family name. Let's look up. And then this is where you make sure you find the last name, the first name, and this is also where you can find an accurate date of birth as well. So when you double check that last name, first name, you'll type it in here, first name, and then last name. You put the gender here. This is a drop-down menu, so you can drop down either M or F for male or female. Click one of them and it'll be entered automatically. In this case, you can also type it in and press tab. But if you try to type in male, for example, an error message will come up and it says that that value does not match that section. So you just want to press cancel and it'll show you exactly what you can do instead using the drop-down menus. Usually if that error message comes down, it means that either wasn't an option or it's the wrong spelling. So don't be afraid if that comes up. Just make sure that you use the drop-down. And then date of birth right here is where you'll put that date of birth that you double checked from GMS using this date of birth section. So those are those 4 sections right there on this example. Next up is the coach name and coach phone number section. This is important for especially these events where you need to know the coach's name that will be connected to that athlete. Especially in winter sports, a lot of the times these are more independent individual sports, and knowing the coach that goes with that athlete and that program is extremely helpful for us. And also the coach's phone number, which will be either the cell phone or the best number to get in contact with them during the competition, whether they're on the slopes or just not in close contact in case there's any issue or anything that they need to be contacted for. The next section is delegation, and this is a very important section. As you can see on this example, there's area 6, area 13, and so on. This delegation is often also called their group, and it is the area program name that you have. I'll pull up GMS and show you just a few examples of how you can see the different types of delegation names. So it's in this group section after you go to person look up again. And if you see these different areas and press the tab, let's go to area 7, you can see area 7 has not only A07, A07 CMU, but also A07 Mount Pleasant. And they must be spelled and with the correct numbers as you see on this list. These are the delegation names that you have available. And if anything is incorrect, you could cause errors and also situations where athletes or coaches get inputted into the wrong delegation by mistake. And we don't want that. We don't want any issues to occur. So just double check to make sure that the spelling of your delegation is exactly what we have in GMS. That's the best way and the way to make sure that everyone's getting in the right place when being registered. And again, you can see this is where the coach's number would go, and then this is the delegation section. So after the delegation section is the sport. Sport is obviously the sport that you will be having at that event. We have 4 sports at this regional winter game. You can see the tabs at the bottom: alpine skiing, snowboard, cross-country ski, and snowshoe. This is the sport that athlete or unified partner will be taking part in, and you do not need to add a sport here for coach or volunteer. That information is not needed. But the spelling here is important. Thankfully, at the bottom, you see these 4 sports right here, and at the top of that, and that's the spelling that you want to use. So we'll always have that available for you depending on the sport and event. Another cool thing is that when you go to put in the sport, there is also another drop-down menu. So again, you can either scroll through with your mouse or scroll through using your keyboard up and down arrows, and that'll help you go through and pick the right sport for that person. And if it's for the coach or the volunteer, you can leave that blank. The next section is going to be event code 1. And that is a lot like, as you can see, there is event code 1, 2, and 3 here. And so event code 1 is just the first event that that athlete is in. So events are the specific events within each sport. And each event has its own distinct, unique code. And that code comes specifically from GMS. So it has to be exactly the way it is in GMS, which sounds tricky, but we've given you those codes as well. So you can see here, these are the codes for the alpine ski events, snowboard events, cross-country ski events, and snowshoe events. If you need to find these, they are always going to be on the tabs. They are also available through the mailing and the website. So maybe you don't want to scroll through every time. What you do is you hold down the snowshoe, drag your mouse down, and you'll be able to highlight the whole thing. Right-click on that, and you can press the copy button. Then when you're going back to your event import, you want to make sure that you're not putting it on any of the sections with the drop-down menu, because that could cause some error. So maybe put it off to the side over here where there's no headers, and then put right-click, paste. And now you'll be able to find those very easily right there. And you'll be able to look up here where, yep, the code is also a drop-down menu. So click on that. Scroll through, and we're looking for these exact codes over here. And you can scroll through with your mouse or with the down arrow or up and down arrow on your keyboard. And you can see these exact codes listed right here. Match them up, make sure you have the right one, and then move on to the second code, event code 2, which is the exact same process. If you don't have, if that person does not have a third event, then we do not put them in that third event code. You leave that blank. The final sections of this are a processed and processing log section. Now, these sections are also, again, just like that owner section, only for state office use. So you do not need to worry about them. Leave them blank, and we will take care of them ourselves. And then once this is all finished and your whole delegation is entered, you will send them to the regional forms emails, which I will now type out. Northern and UP is SOMI forms at SOMI Southwest is sw.forms@somi.org. And Southeast is se.forms@somi.org. So again, if you're from the Northern or UP region, you use the Northern UP forms email. If you're from Southwest areas, use the Southwest. And if you're from the Southeast areas, use the Southeast forms email. These are great. We're always here to help if you have any questions about this. But let's go through some of the examples now. So again, we're going to leave this owner code blank, and I'm just going to get rid of these for when we're going through. So that owner section will be left blank. Role, we're going to put them as an athlete with the first name John and the last name Doe. Use our drop-down menu to find male, and his birthday is 1/1/2000. We can pull up GMS also and look up Doe, see to make sure that that is exactly how it's spelled. In this case, because it is a made-up person, they're not in GMS, but that's where you will double check to make sure the date of birth and spelling is completely correct. Next, we'll put in the coach's name. In this instance, this person's name is Sam Doe with their phone number. The delegation of this John Doe is going to be an Area 11 athlete. So if you come up here to Area 11 or come up to the list and scroll down to Area 11, you can see this is a good example. If there's a lot of different types of delegation and you want to make sure the spelling is completely correct and matches it exactly on GMS. So we'll put this Area 11 independent. So you type in, and I always like to go back and just double check again that that's how it's spelled. So right here. And yep, that matches. So this athlete will have him be in snowshoe events. And now to the event codes. And like I said, I personally don't know the codes very well. So I'm going to go over here. Again, you click and drag over the sections, right click, and then press copy. Go back to your event import tab, off to the side where there's no drop down menus, and then right click and paste. Gives you a good visual of the different codes. So again, this drop down menu, we're going to go down to the SNS, which is right here, and he's going to be in the 25 meter. Match that up to make sure, yep, that is 25 meters. Click on it. And then scroll down. He's also in the 50, and yes, that is the 50. You don't want to type these in yourself because these codes need to be exactly the way they're written in this code section to be sure that they're being entered. Any sort of mistake, any sort of misspelling may prevent them from being entered in that event and can cause just future issues coming to the event and registration issues in general. So always double check the spelling, use the drop down menus, and then at this point you can delete this unless you have more snowshoe athletes, because we're not going to have this athlete be in a third event, and then so we leave that blank. For this process and processing log, again, leave those sections blank as we will be the ones dealing with that. So you're done with that athlete. What do you do next? Well, you continue on with the rest of your people. In this case, we're going to go down the next row, and we're going to enter that coach that is John Doe's coach. So the role will be C for coach. Type in Sam. Sam Doe. She will be female, so drop down menu F. And then we'll put their birthday. This section for coach's name and coach's phone number, we can leave blank. We will not need those. but you do need the delegation. And since this coach is John's coach, we're also going to have the same delegation. Thankfully, when you type in, it should automatically pop up. But as you have more athletes and different types of delegations, they will not always be. So you're always going to want to just to be careful, type it in yourself and then double check it. So now that I have that in, I do not need to enter a sport or an event code. And then that person is all set. And I did double check the date of birth on GMS. So let's look that up as well. I imagine they're here. All right, and then that's all set too. And you would continue on with this as you go down, adding different people that are in your delegation. Filling out their information, their genders, their date of birth, their coaches, delegations, sports, until you have a list that looks a lot like this example. So as you can see here, they're all listed one right after the other in different rows and have all their information included. When this is all done, as I said, now that this person is done, you can send it to your forms email, which can be found right here. So make sure that you're sending it right to your forms email, the whole Excel sheet. You can save it again and then send it, and we will be able to take it from there. Also, if you have any questions while you're completing this, any confusion or things that may occur, we are always welcome. Questions are always welcome to us. We are more than willing to help you and eager to help you. So we don't want to cause you any stress. We understand this is a new system and there's going to be questions moving forward. Feel free to reach out to us anytime. Again, these are the emails. And that is it for now. Remember, this is the one that you type in, this tab, event import, and all of these sports, alpine ski, snowboard, cross country ski, and snowshoe have the codes and the event titles. Thank you so much for joining us on this. If you have any questions, of course, reach out to those emails and have a great day. Hello, everyone. We are going. So again, that video is on YouTube as well as our resources page on our SOMI website. After this, I will be sending you a link to that YouTube through email, along with this instruction guide. So Julie, if you want to click on that, kind of show them what that's going to look like. You may have seen this if you looked through the mailing earlier. This is the registration sheet and link, which has a little bit of explanation about the registration process. Can you scroll down to the instruction sheet? And then after the links is the instruction guide. So this explains, again, step by step how to do it, kind of what each heading means, what a little explanation of the process. It also gives you some step-by-steps on how to download it if you use it off of Google Sheets. So if you're using it as a Google Sheets Excel, which is also acceptable, you'll just have to download it as into an Excel form before you send it in to us. So we can answer, I see a couple questions in the chat. I'll answer those really quickly. Katie asked what happens if GMS is wrong for your athletes, I'm guessing, or your coaches. If it's wrong, originally, from the start, if anything is wrong in GMS, you can come and email your forms email, and we will get that corrected for you. So if you notice someone's name is spelled wrong or their birthday is wrong, let us know because we can fix that right away. And then the whole fact of how this process came to be, there's a lot of other states that are using this process. Right now, you guys have limited access in GMS, and although you'll be using GMS, and we ourselves will be the ones that are importing this to GMS. So it'll no longer be on you to have all of the athletes' names in to GMS into the event. It'll be us that is importing it, which will prevent any doubling of people. I know sometimes if it's an Anthony or an AJ, you'll put an AJ in and now there's two people for the same role or the same person. So this is really for us to be able to have be the person that's making sure there are no errors and getting everyone inputted. And I see you asked if we put the chaperone name in for sports that have large participation. This, you're going to put everyone in. So if they're a chaperone, if they're a volunteer, you're going to put them in. But we want to make sure which athlete is on which team, like we would normally, kind of. You want to know who's matched with who, so that when we have a question, maybe say for winter sports out on the slopes, we can go to that coach. They may be with someone else, but that coach is the one that should know who is their chaperone on the slope or who is with them during bocce. So that's kind of that. And then why we enter the coach's name information is that we're going to enter everyone. You're going to enter coaches, athletes, unified partners, volunteers / chaperones, as they'll both be volunteers labeled. And that's the new registration process. Again, we're going to send you the link both to the YouTube and the instruction guide, but this is also available in the mailing through the registration link. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to add to the Excel sheet, we also did add a location tab, so that will look a little bit different than we had already pre-recorded this portion of it. But on the actual Excel sheet that you guys are going to complete for us, you will see that extra tab for location. And again, that's going to look a little bit different depending on what the event is. You know, this one is specific to this winter games. You know, if we're having a summer games, again, it's going to be the same idea, same principles, but maybe have a little bit different information depending on what we need for the actual games.
And before we go adding any elements to it, we will be letting you know, giving another training, explaining how this has changed in any way, and just reiterating how to complete it. And this is going to be for regional and state events.
Alrighty, so I'll take it from here, Mary. Thank you very much for giving us that explanation. So now we go into our new mailing format. Our new mailing format has taken a 160-page plus document and turned it into a one-page document with various links of information. Each section has a link pertaining to sports, registration, event information, schedules, general information, or any and all things that this event may need you to know. This can also be linked to the SOMI website, and you will find everything in here beneficial for all things this event may need. So how the new process works, each category has its own link, which means that every word or sport on the mailing is linked to a page that is information for that specific topic. When you click on a category, for example, we'll say general information, you will be sent to a link that opens all the information. From there, the links can be opened and printed separately when and if desired to do so. For the event rules in sports, all of the sporting events will be listed on the left-hand side of this document. If you click on the sport, all the information you need, such as rules and levels, will be inside, and codes as well. We figured that rather than scrolling to find a specific sport, this was designed to be accessed with one click, so you're not scrolling. For your general information, in the mailing, this is where you will find the following: mandatory reporting, the FIS helmet regulations, location information and times, coaching requirement reminders, the COVID-19 requirements for all coaches and volunteers, as well as making sure that your athletes all have their COVID-19 waivers signed and turned in, the service animal policy, and the parent and spectator code of conduct. For the schedule, in the schedule tabs, you will find where the different locations, events, times and options for winter games by region will be happening. Southeast as of now is offering 1 day, while Southwest has 2. Both regions are able to attend the event of their choice. And a little note here, each region differs, so please pay close attention when registering, which Mary had mentioned that we added a location option on the registration form, so that can help us and you in case you forget which one you registered at if you're from a different region. And then registration, Mary touched base on that earlier. The links and videos to the new process are given in the registration tab. If you have any other questions on registration, feel free to reach out to Mary, Jill, or myself at any time. For Coach's Corner, this is directly linked to the Coach's Corner on the SOMI website, so all of you should be pretty familiar with that. But this will also tell you if your coaching requirements are up to date on the website. And as a reminder, I put in that you will need all of the following to participate: an up-to-date volunteer A form, an up-to-date sports certification for winter sports, a completed general orientation and general orientation quiz, a completed concussion training, a completed protective behavior, a return to play activity waiver, a return to play online training, a coronavirus outbreak, what you need to know, which is an online training as well. And we ask that you have attended one return to play webinar offered by the staff at SOMI. And this leads to the final link, which is the athlete participation packet, which is brand new to all of you. In the athlete participation packet, you will find the new participation forms that are required to participate in events. This is in place of our old medical form, and we will be going over the athlete participation pack in complete detail, hopefully on our next training for you. And then this is what the mailing looks like in case someone on here has not opened theirs. We have our contact information on the left-hand corner. These are all the sporting events where if you click on them with the PDF version that you received, you can click and open. And then our dates, locations, and we gave you the option of or for the February 20th, as well as general information, schedule, registration, Coach's Corner, our new athlete participation packet, and our little logo. Our final point, we understand this new process will take time to get comfortable with, and we are here to help. Feel free to contact us at any time with questions or concerns regarding this new process. As always, stay safe. We miss you, and hopefully we will see you in a few weeks. But just to, once again, in case you need our contact information, Joe, myself, and Mary, and all of our different regions, this would be the best way to contact us. And then our next session will be February 8th, 2021 at the same time from 5:30 to 6:30. And we are not sure on our topic yet. So be sure to look out for the topic in the AD alert. Once again, thank you to Amerisure for making this possible. And now I believe we have a few questions waiting for us.
Julia, is it possible for you to show them